I've had this little set of Elizabeth Arden miniatures for quite a while. I specifically wanted to try and get this old collection. They don't produce this particular set anymore because it has a couple of things in it that are still in production that I was interested in smelling because they're kind of classic perfumes. I just wanted to know what they smell like. And a couple that I wanted to smell but are discontinued. So although you can still buy them relatively easily, I don't think they're in production anymore. And I got this a while back, but it was moving into hotter summer weather, and some of these are really strong, and they're three of them are very floral. And for me, that's not something I can really deal with in summer. So I wanted to wait until it cooled down, and so I could give them a proper kind of fair review, you know. I'm going to open this up. So if you can see here, I'm not sure if it's easy to see, but you've got the Fifth Avenue. That's the original one. That's an eau de parfum. You've got the original Untold, also an eau de parfum. The original Pretty, that's an eau de parfum. And then the Red Door, which is an eau de toilette spray vaporizer. So let's get this open so we can look at these. So let's start from the very beginning and go for the Fifth Avenue. These are actually not the easiest to get out, but it does mean they arrived with me in one piece, which is wonderful. So this is Fifth Avenue. So Fifth Avenue is a classic floral perfume. I think it's probably still very popular. This is something that I didn't want to blind buy this because I thought the chances of me liking it enough to actually wear it were very, very slim, because it is, in my opinion, a very, very classic smelling floral, you know. I've got a little sprayer here. I have tried this on my skin. And to me, this is a very, very lily of the valley, jasmine-y, that kind of white floral smell. So there's a lot of notes in this, as you can imagine, because I think I'm not sure if this is 90s or, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's 80s. I think it's probably late 90s. This is the top notes of lime, so that's linden blossom, lily of the valley, lilac, magnolia, bergamot and mandarin orange. Middle notes are jasmine, tuberose, ylang ylang, Bulgarian rose, peach, violet, carnation and nutmeg. Base notes are musk, iris, sandalwood, amber, vanilla and cloves. So I think for this one, I don't necessarily, I mean, you pick up on different things, I guess, because I think that the lilac and the tuberose are kind of up in the votes a little bit. Well, linden blossom actually is what's at the top. And I was like, I have some perfumes with linden blossom in, but this doesn't scream linden blossom to me too much. It really screams lily of the valley, magnolia and jasmine. I don't get a huge amount of lilac. I don't think that linden blossom feels like the strongest thing here. This is just far, far too floral for me personally, but at the same time I recognise that it's super, super pretty, very ladylike, you know. I think this is it's an old-fashioned is the thing. It's an old-fashioned classy floral. So it's not necessarily to my taste, but I do think that in terms of like a cheapie, if you like those kind of classic white florals, this is actually like quite an impressive perfume for the sort of price you'll pay for an Elizabeth Arden. So it smells like a classy woman from the 90s to me. This is Untold. So this is one of the ones I've been really interested in for ages. I thought the notes looked lovely. I just really, really liked the bottle of this as well, I'm not going to lie. The big bottles have like a gold metal around the outside, and they are beautiful. They do have this kind of tone to them, this kind of iridescent kind of tone to them, I believe. So this one, I have this on my skin at the moment, and I've got it on a little blotter as well. There is something so beautiful about this, and I'm quite surprised that this has been discontinued, but I feel like because I've very rarely heard anyone talk about this, I think I've only ever heard Shana J discuss Untold, and And there are quite a few flankers of this as well. There's an Eau Fraiche I totally want to get in fact, I'm probably going to try and get my hands on them, and I'll tell you why. The notes in this are top notes of pear, pink pepper, cassis and bergamot. The middle notes are gardenia and Egyptian jasmine. Base notes amber, musk and patchouli. I'm super fussy about patchouli, but it's not really coming across in a classic patchouli way to me here. And I also don't like pink pepper, and although I can smell that, what I really get from this is pear and a sort of a slightly floral vibe, but also it doesn't list any wood, which is weird because I think it smells a little bit like a kind of pencil shaving-y type wood, like you get in the Jimmy Choo Illicit perfume and the Fever perfume. I don't normally enjoy smelling that kind of slightly pencil shaving-y vibe on me personally, but somehow in this, it's so comforting and sweet and cozy and pretty. Really strong pear. It must be something to do with the warmth from that pink pepper mixing with the patchouli and the amber. The amber's quite strong here. That just kind of gives it this slightly pencil shaving-y smell, but it's in a very soft and kind of fuzzy way. If I were to guess, I would have guessed that there was cashmere wood in this. But there's something really beautiful and soothing and calm about this. So I might see if I can get my hands on possibly like maybe this one. There's an Absolute, I think, and there's I'm not sure if it's called Elixir. There's an Eau Fraiche. So there's a few different versions of this particular perfume, few flankers. So I'm just going to have a little eBay investigation and see what they've got, because if I can get it for a good price, I'm quite interested if they retain some of this to actually smell what they smell like. I think this is very, very pretty. I think if you like pear, you'd really like that one. So this is pretty. This is a really cute little sprayer bottle. It's got the cute lid that you get on the actual Pretty. Pretty is a peony floral to me. That's what I think this smells like. So this is top notes of orange blossom, mandarin orange and peach. Middle notes peony, jasmine, lily and iris. Base notes of musk, woodsy notes and amber. The votes, which I totally agree with, have the peony massively up the top, followed by the jasmine and then the lily. Now, these are not at all my favourite kinds of scents. I don't really like peony very much. I really struggle with it. I think I only have one perfume that's dominant in peony, and there's caramel in it. So it's like sweetened up, because I find peony very, very screechy, like very screechy indeed. And I find the same with this. There is a sharpness running through this that kind of is a bit head splitting to me, and jasmine and peony together often causes that for me. Yeah, it's so sharp to me. It's compared to the Misty or Blooming Bouquet, which I can kind of see. It's got that same kind of vibe. It's also got that vibe of what's the one? I think it's Bright Crystal, kind of that kind of vibe. The first thing I thought of though when I smelt this was Femme by Hugo Boss. Now that is a perfume that I heartily dislike. That one smells like white and pink florals, but it's got a kind of screechy, piercing quality to it that is what I find in this one as well. So personally, I don't like Pretty. This is not one that I would be able to wear. It's just not my kind of thing. But if you like those Misty or Blooming Bouquets and well, in fact, most of the Mistiors, in fact, they all have that kind of sharp quality on top of sweetness that I just can't get along with. And this is that same kind of thing. But you can get it for a real bargain. It's a super cute bottle. So if you do like peony, if that's one of your faves, then I think you'd probably really enjoy this perfume. So now we have an absolute kind of classic. I think this smells so much like the 80s. This is Red Door, and even though this is, I have to say it, an absolute beast, it's only supposed to be a eau de toilette, but it's definitely the strongest out of all of these. It's incredibly pungent. Now, my feeling about this is that it's kind of Elizabeth Arden's version of Poison. It's their Poison. It smells like an 80s powerhouse. It's sort of plummy and sweet, but it's tuberosy and floral. It's got a lot of the same notes as Poison. I don't think it's as pretty. It's not as interesting. It doesn't have the smokiness, but it definitely has a little bit of that vibe, which is probably why it smells so 80s to me, like super strong and 80s. So the top notes here are rose, orange blossom, plum, violet, peach and anise, and the middle notes are honey, carnation, rose, tuberose, ylang ylang, jasmine, lily, freesia, lily of the valley and orchid. Base notes are sandalwood, amber, benzoin, musk, heliotrope, vetiver and cedar. So there is a lot going on here. Now, I haven't got this on my skin because it's so strong. I'm definitely going to have to test this in winter. It also on paper, so I've tried all these on my skin. This on paper also has that slight screechy vibe to it. Sort of sharp, piercing, shampoo-y vibe, I would say. But it definitely also has a little bit of a vibe of Poison. I don't think it's quite as sweet. And I don't think the tuberose quite as high. I think maybe the carnation is kind of a little bit above the tuberose in this one. And the violet is giving it like a little bit more of a kind of sharp, punchy floral. It's not quite as smooth. But it definitely has a real honeyed plum smell about it as well. And there's a lot of sandalwood. It really does remind me of Poison. I don't think it's as nice, but I do think it is pretty good. And because it reminds me of Poison, this is probably something I'm going to quite enjoy. But we shall have to see about that. That is definitely something for the winter. And it's kind of crazy to me that this one's an eau de toilette. If they used to make this as an eau de parfum, I bet it was one of the strongest perfumes you could get back in the day. Yeah. But yeah, I was really interested in smelling Red Door. So this has been really fun smelling these. I think this is a really nice little set. My favourite by far is Untold. Untold, I think, is a perfume that people don't really talk about, and obviously it's been discontinued, which is a shame. But this one I think is very pretty, and I think a lot of people would really enjoy this. It's very comfy. It's really nice. And I think if I adjust my brain to be like, there's a slight patchouli and pink pepper, which is creating that kind of what I at first thought might be a cashmere wood kind of smell, then I think that this one is really something I might want to wear. So yeah, it's been really fun trying these out. I hope this was helpful to anyone who's been looking at these and wondering if they might want to blind buy them. I think this one might be quite a safe blind buy. This one only if you like peony. These two, I think if you can get to a shop where you can smell them, then I think it's definitely sensible to smell those before you blind buy.